Meeting for September 18th at 3 o'clock. We had a meeting on the 17th, which was illegal because it wasn't posted properly. This meeting has been posted properly, and we will discuss some of the things that took place yesterday. Just as a reminder, we know it's illegal, but we're going to go through our agenda. And first of all, I guess I'll ask for any public input. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. Question and a comment, if I might. Are the 2010 financial statements complete at this point, and is it possible to get copies of those?
Two things. One, he sent us the things that he has done and wants myself to sign it, and also Kathy Gary. That has been done. He hasn't got it yet. It was just received yesterday. From what I can understand from Kathy Gary, he has had problems in getting records or information from the retirement system in Concord. Other than that,
he's done.
Everything is done.
Well, one other thing, Mr. Chairman, we have to provide him with the statement about, are we aware of any fraud going on?
Right. Yep. Yep.
In the comment, I'll just mention that there is an early filing period for legislation that started on Monday. Yesterday I filed 3 pieces of legislation. One piece of legislation impacts the county level, and that makes clear in statute that annual audits are required. Mm-hmm. And it also changes the RSA in regard to competitive bidding, and states now it's not just material and equipment over $5,000 that has to be competitively bid, but also services.
Okay.
So those are the 2 pieces in one piece of legislation that I wanted to mention today.
I thought, Representative, that either the last delegation meeting or the one before, you made a statement that you found where it is required in a later bill that was submitted and passed.
It's in a section that is under the Department of Revenue Administration. And so just to be clear, in the county section where it talks about county audits, I added it specifically into that section, so it's very clear for everybody.
Okay, thank you. Any additional comment from the public?
Do I have to move up there to be public?
What's that?
Do I have to move up?
No, go ahead.
I'd like to ask Ed a question, if I might.
Sure.
Ed, this morning after we closed the public meeting, you continued to live stream the discussion we had afterwards. Is that legal?
Yes, you're a public official. It wasn't my intent to leave the live stream on, but we had a discussion. I had shut the large camera off, and the live stream continued.
It had nothing to do with when the meeting is over. If you meet me
No.
on the street corner, you can tape it without me knowing it?
Here's a good example. I also record the Stratford Regional Planning Commission meeting. Their executive director did not like the fact that I was recording 5 minutes before and 5 minutes after in order to get a clear beginning and a clear end. So I had to issue her a cease and desist order to stop making a comment that it was illegal to record her. So it is not illegal to do so. But it was also not my intent to have it running.
Okay. It was not our intent to make a mistake on yesterday's meeting either.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Okay, let's see if we can proceed with some of the things that we did yesterday that were illegal, to make them illegal today. Howie, since you're here, you want to report on what Bob had brought before us?
Bob
Can you remember?
Bob brought before you a contract that will allow us to convert part of our telephone system with a small capital expense that we'll recoup in a matter of months, to be able to convert from we're presently relying on, let me get it straight.
Relying on,
Internet for our telephone, and it's not working out well.
Yeah.
So we'll be bringing in a separate, essentially a T1 line through Bay Ring that ultimately will be less expensive. And the secondary benefit is that this will result in it will result in a savings to residents and an increased revenue to the county.
okay. It was Time Warner.
Time Warner.
Time Warner switched to Bay Ring.
Exactly.
Okay.
For the telephone portion only.
Yep, yep.
And we needed to sign that, and we did.
No, we did not sign that.
What
we did sign-
We did sign something.
What we did sign, which we had passed before, and that was the agreement with Excel to tear down the 2 wings. And he just needed signatures because we had already passed it.
That's right. You're right.
Okay?
Yep.
Okay, telephone system. He mentioned the IT as far as fiber optic work to link the buildings together. Said the IT committee, subcommittee is working to put together requests for proposals and to put something in the 2015 budget. And I, at that time, announced that Winnette de Groot would be no longer asked to serve on the IT committee. She's got too much to do already. And that I had talked with Captain Michael Santuccio from the Sheriff's Department, had nodded his head in the corridor that he would take the leadership of the IT committee until such time we either get an IT person or that somebody else steps forward and wants to take that leadership. Okay, I think that was all regarding that. You want to talk about the action item list?
Yep. Melissa has given us a very handy sheet. I hope it continues. I hope you're not doing it just 1 week, Melissa, and that's the end of it.
No, and I actually changed the format of it, so it looks like that now, so.
You know, this one better.
Oh. Well, that does
The
it
purchase
right
of the whiteboard was $132. We figured we could work it out just as well with a $3 calendar. It's been working fine. The bank, my bank reconciling track sheet was approved, and we will start this month.
Reconciling the bank statements.
Showing the date that it's done and proof that it's done.
Yeah.
So hopefully we won't get in the same mess we were in before. Commissioner Sorensen's response to Representative Cardelli.
Okay, let me, while he's here, did you receive my response to your request of 8/2014?
From the commissioner's account, or from who?
From me. You had asked certain questions.
I believe it's the one, David, that he said I hadn't been here long enough and he wanted to have you answer the questions.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, right.
Okay, so that's completed, okay.
The performance audit response, the finance manager, human resource director, and commissioners. I don't have that checked off. I have written mine. I wrote it about 2 weeks ago, a week ago. So you've got left to go.
If I could say that we just received the completed copy of the matrix report. I'm not sure it's approved. The delegation hasn't approved it, correct?
Well,
Representative?
No, it's presented as the final copy.
We got the final copy, but it hasn't been approved yet.
Nor has it been corrected.
Right. Okay, so anyway, we have received the final copy of the performance audit. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Ossipee Valley Rotary Club, we've got to ask them if they're interested in taking the lead on the taking over for the walking trail for the nursing home.
Yep.
The hoop house, I'm gonna check today, because if you've looked out your window, they must have 50 to 60 feet of it erected out there. They're putting it up right now. Pole barn will be done by snowstorms, 4 snowstorms. Loam sales, we haven't done anything. I meant to check with Willie today when I was over there to see if they've advertised for loam. I believe they have, at $20 a yard. Administrative building parking lot, that's the safety committee, and we've heard nothing about that from them. Sale of green dump truck, Willie's working on it, whether he parts it out or whether he sells it as one big heap, that's up to him. Clarification of RSA 28A regarding whether a contract for services must be put out to bid if it exceeds $5,000.
Let's address that.
Well,
Okay.
Representative Cardelli put the bill in. My own opinion is, I hope it fails. I don't want to go out for bid for a lawyer and have the guy or a woman be a specialist in child abuse and have the low bid here for the county and then take over our business or whatever the situation may be. I think services should be left up to the most competent person and left up to the commissioners to give it out at the price they feel is correct on services. That's my own opinion. Non-public session tracking form. That's yep. No, that's right. I'm sorry. That's the continuation of Michelle Hamilton. Let me make a note. Michelle Hamilton's record on non-public and public meetings.
I think Commissioner Kenney was working on that. She was going to go through the minutes file.
The latest minutes, yes.
Yeah.
And the last one was compensation for employees that step up and take jobs that are above their assigned position and that are required by law. We still have that to do.
I should have said at the beginning, Commissioner Kenney said this morning she would not be here because it would be the same things we talked about yesterday. So she declined to attend this afternoon's meeting.
Well, that makes 2 out of 3. She didn't come yesterday afternoon because she thought she'd heard it all in the morning.
Well, that's her business.
Get elected to do the job, you should do it.
Okay. You want to report on the Freiburg Rotary Club?
Yes. Yesterday, was it yesterday or Tuesday?
Tuesday morning.
Tuesday morning, Jason Henry and Chairman Sorensen and myself presented a program to the Freiburg Rotary about our programs here at the jail, and hopefully having them develop some interest in supporting our programs and perhaps giving a young man or a young woman getting out of jail or on a bracelet and off a second chance. Jason Henry, although he speaks 100,000 words a minute, did an excellent job. He's an impressive speaker. He's been a vice chairman in a high school, so he's done a lot of speaking. He did a very, very nice job. The people were interested in what we had to say. I think it might result in maybe 1 or 2 opportunities for some kids. We've got to make sure we get the right ones so that we don't blow any further opportunities. It was a nice day, and I'm glad we went.
And you stopped by a business?
Oh, then on the way home, in my other life, I sold metal to machine shops. So we stopped at a big machine shop in Conway, and they were very receptive to taking somebody, as long as they could prove that they had some mechanical ability, and start them off at rock bottom and bring them along to be a machinist. And if we can do a couple of those, we'd really be getting someplace. I'd also like to interject at this time that a year ago, the young man that left here, we just call him Zach, he'd been out, yesterday was a year out of jail. I had to almost beg his employer to hire him, and today he's virtually running the place, and they absolutely love him. And if we could find 8 or 10 more like him, we could really do some work on cutting down with citizens. He's done an amazing job, as has the other individual that we've had in that's been out 12 years now, as a model citizen here in Carroll County.
Okay, I'd like to clarify one thing. I did not give a presentation at the Freiburg Rotary. I belong to the Freiburg Rotary. I was responsible for coming up with a program, and the previous week I said to the Rotary I'd like to invite someone from our facility to give a presentation, and that's why both Commissioner Babson and I were at that meeting. I was there to introduce them to give their presentation. That was it. Okay.
Excuse me, Dave. One of the things that struck me is they were very interested in how much it cost to keep an inmate a day.
Yep.
And how we could, what programs we could do that would still stay $100 a day or thereabouts, but what we could do to reduce the number of people that were in the jail.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Commissioner Kenney, I will give her report that she gave. She reported that she attended the Health Direct meeting on September 16th, 2014. She was given a tour of the company. They deliver medications to jails and nursing homes in New Hampshire. And then Howie, you responded with your portion regarding obtaining bids.
Exactly. We are working with both Health Direct and Farm America, getting ready. Representative Cordelia isn't here, but it's a service that we're getting ready to put out to bid. It has been exclusively with one provider. It's a significant contract, and as soon as our new director of nursing is on board, we will have 3 qualified bidders and put together a proposal for you.
Okay. I would like to ask permission of the board to sign Bulio's 40 plus items that he listed as to what he has done for the 2010 financial statement. He requests that I sign it and that Kathy Gary sign it as the financial clerk. So
I'll make a motion that you sign it with this caveat, but I have an opportunity to look at it first.
okay, I'll second it. Further discussion?
Yeah. No, I haven't seen it.
Yep. Okay. All those in support of the motion, say aye. I will withhold my, because I'm involved and I'll sign it. Okay? So, passes 1-0. 1-0-1. I'll abstain.
We'll continue down with the reports.
Yep, go ahead.
16th, I attended the advisory board. The gentleman in charge of the Cooperative Extension Finances was there to explain their budgeting. We evaluated 2 of the educators. There was a lot of discussion about their evaluation form. It will be changed. And at the meeting again, the Cooperative Extension wanted to impress on the delegation that they are interested in moving to the complex.
Okay. Anything else you want to report on?
Nope.
We have had a request from our attorney for the board to take a vote on releasing some investigations and giving authorization to others. So at this time, I'd like to make a motion that we allow Attorney Bailey to provide to Sandra.
Cabrera.
Why did I call her Sarah?
I don't know.
Sandra.
Cabrera.
Cabrera?
Cabrera.
Can you spell it, or?
Cabera.
Whose firm is located in Colebrook.
Waystack and Frizzell.
To allow Attorney Bailey to give to Sandra Cabrera a copy of the Fowler investigation. That's my motion.
I'll second it. Mr. Chairman?
Yes, discussion.
No, just, I think you should make it clear what this is about. This is about our ongoing legal battle with Mrs. Kenney and having her removed from office. And this is materials that she's requesting that would require a
Correct.
protective order, which,
She has not signed yet.
or said she wouldn't sign.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. Any further discussion on the motion?
Yes, I think you ought to tell the public that as a board, we have not seen anything but the summary of that.
For clarification, we have not seen anything dealing with the Fowler investigation. Attorney Bailey sat over here,
Who represents us?
who represents the board, and gave us a verbal summary of the investigation. Prior to her giving that to us, Commissioner Kenney left the meeting, so she did not have any information regarding the Fowler case. Now, she contends that we have held that back. In talking with our attorney yesterday, she said she did not give that to us because there was possibilities of retaliation by members of the commission, Board of Commissioners.
No. I think
Names
she
were not
retali-
released.
I don't think that's exactly accurate, David. I was the impression that retaliation from people that were named in the
That's what I was getting to. Okay.
you said the commissioners. I don't tend to.
Well, it was
retaliate against
retaliation regarding anybody who testified in that investigation. That's why she wouldn't release it to us. Okay?
Just for clarification, the
Yep.
concern was that the commissioners would retaliate against them? Was that the concern?
No,
Oh.
that's what I just said to David.
Well,
Okay.
I think she's right.
Oh,
If you read the names, you might retaliate against them.
Yeah.
That was the concern.
That was a
Is that-
concern.
okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
So to keep it clean, all she did was read the summary, and everything else, all the detail, all the people that testified and so forth, we never heard. We don't even know who testified for the opposition. Only she knows.
I'd like it in the notes that I disagree with that.
Okay.
That I feel the retaliation could come from anybody, not just a commissioner.
Well, okay. It could come from anybody. Okay? All those in support of that motion, say aye. Aye. Then so passed. The second motion, I would make a motion to authorize Asha Kenney to obtain and/or examine any and all financial records in our possession in which Carroll County has or has had here at our office. Do I hear a second?
Second.
In discussion, I'll report what Commissioner Kenney had said she wants to make it clear that she has never had access to financial records since taking office as a commissioner. She said normally she cannot see records, and it is taking a court order. Kenney asked Sorensen to repeat the motion, but he did not, stating if she had paid attention, she would know what it was. I'd make the further comment that she has always had access to financial records. Let me give you some examples. Payroll. She has seen the complete payroll of everybody in the county. What they make.
Requested them and saw them.
And saw them. And they're in a notebook downstairs in Kathy Gary's office. She's been involved with budget presentations, preparation. She has seen detailed budgets. She has looked at or through a number of W-2 forms in our office. When she signs a check, she has all the backup information as to what the check was for, how much it was,
and who it was written.
Yeah, and who, and gets a printout of all the checks that are signed by the commissioners.
And that's every week.
And that's every week. She has signed the financial statement that goes to the state. Both the clerk and I, as the president, as the chairman, sign that financial statement that goes to the state. And so she has seen a lot of the financial records. I'm not sure which one she has not seen. The staff downstairs says she never asked to see anything. They've always been cooperative and would be able to give her anything that deals with financials, from accounting to payables and so forth.
In fact, they said they never withheld anything from her.
Right. So the motion, which was requested by our attorney to make sure that she realizes that we have not kept anything from her, and we will both sign that statement. And so the motion was to let her examine any and all financial records in our possession. Motion made and seconded. All those in support of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Now,
One last one.
Howie, have we
got one last one.
What's the last one?
To notify all the banks. I'll make a motion that we notify all banks that we've done business with. I think she asked for the last 4 years.
Last 4 years.
To give them permission to release any information that Commissioner Kenney requests.
Second it. Any further discussion? All those in support of the motion say aye.
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 We've
So
got to
voted.
make sure we tell Cheryl to get that.
I have the form. You need to sign some of the forms. We'll put to the bank on the top of that letterhead, and then it gets sent. Okay. And we'll make sure that the attorney gets a copy of it. Howie, we got anything else we left out that you or you wanted to say before, since yesterday?
I do.
Go ahead.
I have two pieces of new information for you, not requiring action. At this morning's public hearing, I didn't want to respond to something that would distract from the matter at hand, but a question was brought up about emails and an administrative delay in emails. The copies of those emails are attached for you. There was no delay in emails. Those emails aren't material to the discussion that was going on, but I want you to have confidence that we weren't slacking in terms of getting back to anybody. So it's more just for your edification than it is for any action. Of course, it might not have been a concern to anybody except me, but, you know, when an allegation is made, we want to be sure that there's a response, but we want it to be at the right time to the right group, and that would be to the commissioners.
This is what you sent to her.
Exactly, and hers is attached, but there was no delay. And there was no, I don't know why there was even, well, of course, it wasn't relevant, but that's.
Well, I wouldn't say there was any delay, since Friday the 27th is when she wrote you, and you returned it on Tuesday morning.
Yeah, I was.
And in there was a Saturday and Sunday.
And I had to get back from Savannah to do it, so there was no intentional delay, nor was there anything timely that needed a response.
Oh, which reminds me, David, we ought to report that yesterday, Wednesday, what's today, Thursday? Yesterday, we went to the thank you from Ball Peak for the generous donation of the golf cart. We've got to do something for the gentleman that gave us the trailer for the patients, the residents to ride in. And somebody, I think he footed the cost for all the welding and the changes that had to be made in it. But yesterday it was the thank you for the golf cart. We had 3 ladies from Ball Peak.
Ball Peak Colony.
Yeah. And I'm sure they know how much we appreciate it.
Thank you all for being there, too. Yeah. They appreciated that, too.
The president was there. The chairman of the fundraising committee was there. And I forget what the football player's mother.
Kathy?
Gravel was there. She's been involved with that for a long time. So it was a community fund from Ball Peak.
Correct.
Basically, that does these kinds of things. They felt that it was well-deserving, and they were glad to participate.
It's been well used and very much appreciated. We're talking about a golf cart and actually a trailer that's unique in that we can take our residents with power chairs and wheelchairs for the same kind of adventures.
I don't understand the second request.
For a second and
for
larger,
a second one.
A second and larger golf cart. So
a larger?
Well, that's a 4-passenger. A 6-passenger would be even nicer.
Oh.
How can you hold a race if you don't have 2?
That's right.
Is that what they're actually after? How would a bigger one to, I thought it was the same size that they were looking at.
Well, that'll depend on how much money, or if any money. So that will be the determining factor. The 6 would be nice, but it might be too affordable. Having 2 small ones also gives us some flexibility to get more people out there at the same time.
Very generous of them. We're very lucky to have them do that for us.
Before we leave that subject, I did at lunch yesterday go over and thank Russell
Slingsby.
Slingsby.
Slingsby. S-L-I-N-G-S.
Okay. He has, his wife was a resident of our nursing home.
Correct.
And since she has passed away, he has been back volunteering to drive the golf cart. He actually brought his, I believe.
He did.
And I wanted to make sure that representing the Board of Commissioners that he was recognized and thanked for volunteering to do that service, and I hope that at some point in time we can recognize him.
Well, he also, don't get it, he's the one that donated the trailer.
He said that.
In fact, we practiced with this golf cart idea on his. He would trailer his up, and we experimented so that we know that we would use 2. What you have in front of you now is the report that we submitted to the state today. So you're getting it hot off the press. It's not only the survey results, but it's also our plan of correction to any areas that they identified as as being deficient and needing some attention.
Where is the correction on this?
The right hand,
Right-hand
as you look
column?
at it, you'll see the note on the
Okay,
left
yeah.
and the correction on the left.
Yep.
Credit here goes to Patty Kane and to Megan Barrett for being the prime movers in developing virtually every aspect of the correction plan.
I was going to ask you, who was involved in putting together the corrections?
Patty took the lead with support from Megan, and we're talking, it's a difficult task under difficult circumstances, but she leaped right to it. And the tough part isn't writing it, the tough part is coming up with the solutions for how we're going to adequately address. And while nobody likes to see that there's any deficiencies, it points out the things that we can and should be doing better.
Mhm.
You know, unfortunately, it was accompanied by two investigations for incidents, one of which was dealt with this morning and another lesser one. But it's something that we can easily overcome.
Howie, what are these, looking at the past couple of days, what do these codes mean?
Well, the codes,
F-208, F-000,
the,
F-224?
well, we're dealing with the federal government here, so the F tags are probably, I'm not sure exactly how many in number, but there are probably 1,000 different things that we can get cited on or that were inspected by. And there is, in anybody's estimation, nursing homes are second only to the nuclear industry in terms of the number of regulations that monitor things. When you come down a little further, you'll see some SS equals letter codes. And the SS is for scope and severity. And Medicare,
Excuse me,
Medicaid,
Howie, where is that?
on the far left, you'll see the F tags, like F281. And then somewhere along.
I don't see 281, I see 208.
Okay, well, see
11 of
208, come down a little
20.
further. You'll
What
see
page?
11 of 22.
Huh?
11 of 22.
You can pick virtually any page.
Yeah.
Well, let's pick 11, so.
Pick
two of
11.
us are on that.
If you pick 11, you'll see F281 at the top left, but as you come down that same little column, you'll see F309, and then you'll see the
yes.
ominous SS tag.
Yep.
Now, the SS tag, it ends
Oh, I
up
see.
typically being the more serious ones, but the government, there are some things that our federal government does very well. And what they do is they have a matrix for measuring both severity and scope. So there, you can have a significant, as long as there's no resident harm, and we've had no deficiencies where there's been resident harm. There's no resident harm, there's a frequency, did it happen once or did it happen once a month, and how severe it is. Was it very minor, but it kept recurring, or was it very medium significance, but didn't happen very often? And they're able to balance that to essentially give you a score. If the score is high enough, it's accompanied by penalties. We're not in the category of anything that's close to penalties, but we don't want to be in the category. We don't want to be on that matrix at all.
Okay, give us an idea. SS means what?
Scope and severity. Scope and severity is
And then it says D after it. What is the scale for?
Deficiency?
A through E, A through M?
Well, A through D, not so bad. When you start getting to E and the F, which has no relation to the F tags, what we need to stay away from, the I and the J, that's immediate jeopardy. That's when they stop admissions and stop paying you. We're nowhere near that, but that's at the upper end of the scale. We're fortunately in the lower quartile, which, while that might seem to be good, being anywhere on that chart isn't where we want to be at all. So, but as you'll see, what we're doing, what the government wants to do, what the state wants to do as well, is to be sure that we just don't fix something once, but we put in the systems to guarantee that it'll never happen again. So we self-impose restrictions that'll keep us checking on things for the next year.
Mhm.
State only requires about a 30-day plan. We want to have a full plan, so we will be monitoring any items in need of correction for an extended period.
You mentioned federal government. The federal government is responsible for inspecting or surveying nursing homes. However, because they do not have the ability to do it,
Manpower?
they rely to the state to come in, and the state does the surveys.
Correct.
However, it's still important that we respond to the state. And my understanding is periodically, the feds will come in and inspect the state to make sure that they are doing a good job.
Correct. In fact, we have already received our letter directly from the feds about this inspection.
Really?
So they monitor what the state does. Anything the state does, they have to submit to the feds.
Yeah.
Anything that has this SS tag goes directly to the Centers for Medicare and Medicare and is reviewed by them.
Okay, any further questions?
I have a question. Is
Go
there
ahead.
any resident-specific information in that?
There is not.
So that could be a public document?
It is public to the extent it is actually publicly posted. Now, and there's a difference. What is posted right now at Mountain View is the survey report.
Yeah.
What isn't included is the right-hand column, which is the plan of correction. That went to the state. As soon as as soon as that is approved by the state, we'll post it. Now, we assume that it'll be approved, but assuming, we don't want to put out what's essentially a draft. But the survey from the state is posted right outside the administrative offices and is available. And we have extracted what
Is it
little
posted
personal data.
online?
What's that?
Is it posted online?
It is not.
Could be.
It could be, because it does not have any personal health information or any identifiers. There is one sheet that the state includes that has identifiers, and we just have to remove that one sheet, and we have.
Okay.
And so that it becomes public information. It is, I think, actually at some point posted by the state, but we have not ever posted it,
Yeah.
but we certainly
Well,
could.
it's theirs.
It's theirs. It's now in Medicare, and the federal government actually posts it as well.
You got, go ahead, you got something?
No,
Oh,
fine.
okay. Okay, it's going to take time for us
I want to read it.
to go over this, but I appreciate getting this. We request it every time we have a survey. Hopefully the next one will be even better. You want to report on the hiring of or acceptance of DON?
We do. I'm glad to report that we finally have, she had to give notice, but we're now able to publicly announce that Lori Tatro of New Durham will be our new Director of Nursing starting on October 14th. And we're looking forward to having her here. She presently works for the Board of Nursing, but has extensive experience working for Sunbridge and the former Clipper Homes as Director of Nursing. So she brings with her a lot of experience. She's a known commodity, already known to many of our staff as a trusted and good person. So we're looking forward. We've been very pleased, though, of course, and very fortunate to have had Patty Kane and also Megan Barrett step up as acting director and also acting assistant director during the interim. And they continue to do a great job.
Will you continue to have an assistant director?
That is our plan. We actually have the position budgeted. It used to be called a clinical care coordinator, and have held off doing it because we'd like to have the director of nursing be part of that decision and be instructive in how we need to create the job description. But I think it's a standard position in virtually all nursing homes, certainly in all the county homes, and we want to be sure that we give the new person the support that we need. And we also need to build in some backup. We don't have depth in some positions in terms of, especially with MDS coordinator, we need to be able to do things to expedite admissions if we're going to stay viable. But fortunately, the position with a different title is already budgeted.
Okay. What has happened to our intern?
Our interns last...
Katie
McCracken.
Okay.
Katie's last day will be she says it's going to be next Thursday. She's going to be in Monday, and she's going in for surgery on Tuesday. So we'll see if she comes back Thursday. But she'll be wrapping up her internship next week. I met with her for our final interview today to go over the administrative checklist.
How'd she do?
She's done very well. I mean, she's exceptional. She was, relatively speaking, an easy candidate, having come to us with experience as a rehab center manager previously anyways. So she was very involved in nursing home care down south. But she's getting her New Hampshire license up here, and she'll soon be leaving us to start in October as a rehab manager in another nursing home. So she has served us well, and I think this experience has served her well.
As a result of her being an intern here, what does she get? Does she get a certificate that she's done this? This is a requirement, right?
This is a requirement. She cannot sit for her boards without having done an internship. So it's actually just for experience. What the state wants, and rightfully so, there's a separate board of licensure for nursing home administrators, is to be sure that nobody just walks into a nursing home without having had hands-on experience first. And this is a sure way to do it. It's actually gotten to be quite a complicated process, as it should be, because you're responsible for the care of some very fragile people.
Doesn't she have to pass a test?
She has to pass 2 tests, a national test and a state test. And she has to do this portion in order to be qualified to sit for the test, along with meeting the educational requirements and other background checks.
Yeah. Okay.
But she is well on her way. I would expect that by Christmas or so, she will be licensed as a New Hampshire nursing home administrator.
Oh, good, good. I've been trying to clean off my desk, and I came across her survey that she did with residents, and I read through every page of it. It was very interesting, the information that, and all the charts and the graphs that she had presented with that survey. I thought she did a really good job, and I guess maybe I'm surprised that I'm not aware of that ever being done before.
I haven't seen any record of it. Doesn't mean that it hasn't been done. It's an important thing to do. What was particularly surprising about her survey was that the high response rate. It's not just a matter of writing a survey, it's going out and educating the residents, and their families were oftentimes the respondents, so that you get enough return for it to be statistically sound. If you have 103 residents and only 10 return a survey, you don't know what it really says. I think she was up in the 30 or 40% range, which is exceptional. Over 15 is considered to be wonderful. So we had good insight, and she was able to break it down by different groups for different things. That was very helpful. Most of it was very favorable, but there were things that identified places where we could and have since, made changes to improve things.
One resident was critical of the meals.
Well, only,
I think it was only one.
Which is when it's only one, it's amazing. Rob and his crew do a great job in terms of the biggest part. Of course, one would say that the biggest part of meals is cooking, but sometimes it's not. It's listening to the people who you cook for and serve, because it isn't what you do, but how you do it. And Rob is excellent. He comes to resident council meetings. He listens to what they want and what they like. Because it isn't a matter of, what you might consider to be the perfect macaroni and cheese. You might like yours sloppy. Some people want to try. Some people want it some people white cheese, yellow cheese. Rob listens to find out how they like it, not how he wants to do it. And it makes all the difference. That and giving people choices. He's very open about giving people choices.
Okay. Anything else you want to?
That's all I have for you.
Anything else you want?
Yeah, I think we
Go
skipped
ahead.
one thing.
Yeah.
Jason Henry brought over his new administrator.
Lori.
She too was Lori, but her name is rather long and
I don't remember.
hard to pronounce. She's had quite a bit of experience. She does the books 2 or 3, I don't know whether it's days a week or days a month for Holderness. She seemed to have caught on in 3 days to a lot of what we're doing here. She'll be running our new accounting system for the inmates. Anyway, she was here to be introduced, and we all met her.
Probably the last item is that we did do the evaluation of the interim superintendent, Jason Henry. I think it was very positive. And with that said, Howie, yours is up this month, so we will be looking at yours very shortly.
Okay, I am ready whenever you are.
And again, there was only 2 of us that did it.
There was only 2 of us that did it.
Yeah.
That's right.
One of the commissioners was missing.
I will say, for the audience and for the auditing report, we do get a list of names to evaluate within the month of their date of hire, so that we're keeping track and making sure that everybody gets evaluated, a performance evaluation. It's not an easy chore. I found it fairly difficult. And I think it's because we're not in contact with you every day, or with Jason Henry every day. But there's still a lot of indicators that I felt that I could evaluate on. So anyway, enough said.
And that case was made even more difficult because Jason only took over
Short
3
period.
months ago, so
Yep.
you
But-
don't have a long history.
But we decided to do it 3 months,
Yep.
and then we'll do another one in 6 months in December.
Well, another one in another 3 months for doing it in 3 years.
Yeah, it'll be in December, okay. All right, nothing else to come up?
No, I'll make a
I'd ask for
motion.
any public input. Ed, go ahead. You're standing first, so I'll call on you.
At what point did the nursing home phone system begin to have problems? Is there a date that it began? And let me ask the question this way. Is the phone system internet-based, like cable, wound up like a bundle package, or is it hardwired type of?
It's essentially voice over internet protocol. And interestingly about phone is one of the worst things for that, because it takes an awful lot of bandwidth that we don't have. So it was pushing the limits. It was a smart and affordable thing to try, but to take it off what we're getting off of Time Warner, it just hasn't been successful, and it hasn't been inexpensive. What I've been able to do, for whatever reason, the county at the time was reluctant to get into selling telephone service to residents.
Yeah.
By bringing in this T1 line, we'll have the capacity to be able to for half the cost of what residents are paying to Bayring, to be able to sell them the same service, unlimited service with no call accounting. They'll save half their money, we'll make half the money, and it'll more than pay for any changes that we need to. The key to that being, you have 103 residents, and you don't have to have a separate line for everybody, because not everybody's ever going to use the phone at the same time.
Yeah, or, yeah, you're right.
And so that we'll be able to manage it. I've done this successfully in a couple different places, and it'll work out well. But it was initially driven by a quality issue, because every third time you call, someone can't hear you, or you can't hear them clearly, and it's been frustrating. But it's not the phone system itself. The wiring of the phone and that whole part is doing what it's supposed to. In fact, none of that will be changed. So it's just going to be the interface from Time Warner to, and we're going to keep both so we have backups.
So when did this begin? When did the problem occur? And how was it discovered?
Oh, it was the problem probably began 3 years and 5 days ago when the building opened, because I don't think there was any. It's always been under the surface. It hasn't been a big problem. Many people haven't even noticed it. It does get to be a problem but Bob identified the problem, but when we looked at it, we saw that not only could we solve the quality problem, we could solve a financial problem. And build in a backdoor. It's going to be fully integrated with any future IT things that happen. But right now, it essentially builds us in a backdoor that in the event that Time Warner went down, we would be able to have other internet access that we don't presently have. And it never hurts to have a backup. That might not be necessary in the future.
Go ahead.
And just for the record, the law that allows for the recording of public officials has been cleared up this year, so I could send Commissioner Babson a copy of that bill, so we're aware of what the law is.
Okay.
If you'd be kind enough to do that, Ed, I'd appreciate it.
Sure, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I attended a meeting this morning
Yes.
in regards to the oath given and taken. Of course, you know I should know something about that. Tell me, what is it that makes an oath honorable and binding?
Say that again?
What is it that makes an oath honorable and binding? What element?
I'm not sure I understand your question.
He's speaking of the swearing in of the
Yes,
witnesses.
okay. What oath, or why is it,
In my opinion,
Is it-
that oath that
why
was
is it
given and taken
binding?
this morning was non-binding whatsoever. Because the very fact of the one element that makes an oath real
yeah,
and honorable
yeah.
is so help me God, because what that says
Yeah,
is
I
for
didn't-
I fear God,
Yeah,
and
I
that
didn't-
is what makes that oath absolute. And that was removed today, and I find that appalling.
I
And
I
that
heard
needs
that
to
too.
be
I
addressed.
I expected to see that,
Because that oath was nothing,
yeah,
absolutely zero.
okay, okay. I understand. I
There's nothing's
expected,
holding that person, not to say that person doesn't have honor and integrity. I'm sure she does. And it's not about her. It was about the oath giver and the subject matter display, carried over to her to repeat.
yep, that's the first time I
And
heard
she has
that.
also removed that spiritual aspect of the oath taker
Mhm.
and didn't allow her to say, well, before God, for I fear God, and this is why this
Yeah.
oath has become binding.
Yep,
You understand what I'm saying here?
yep, I fully
And
agree.
that was wrong.
I
Too much
I
leftist stuff
caught it,
going
but
on
I
here.
wasn't sure what to say about it.
Too lefty left for me.
Okay, okay. But you know why it was administered.
Well, yeah, but now our testimony is now to no avail, because that
That's
oath is
okay.
really not binding.
Yep. Okay. Anything else from the public?
I just had the, last time you met, the meeting agenda, we talked about changing it and what you'd like to have on it from
Yep.
now on. I wanted you to take a look at that, and also,
This is the one you gave us last time?
yeah.
I think it's pretty good.
I added the correspondence and the call for extra items.
Yep.
and So, with your permission, or I was gonna give it to Cheryl and have her use that as a template from now on. But it will really depend on the board members giving her notice ahead of time so she can put in the A, B, Cs and the 1, 2, 3s.
Yeah.
Under the new business and old business, and the department heads, if they have information ahead of time, telling her what that is, or you telling her what you plan to talk to them about.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Frankly, I don't have a big problem with the one that we have now. I think that's a little better.
Well, this is, I think, a little more detailed. And I think, again, in the performance audit, they thought we should improve our commissioners' meetings. And I believe they mentioned an agenda in there.
I did.
So now we have one. Thank you very much for doing that.
Thank you, Melissa.
And then, you have minutes from yesterday.
That's what we were working off.
Do you want to vote to approve? I mean, I think you still have to have minutes even though the meeting wasn't posted.
We have non-public minutes from yesterday. As far as the minutes of the public session,
Yeah.
they're illegal because it
That's why
wasn't
we're here
posted.
today.
That's why we're here today,
Right.
okay? So
I just didn't know.
if they're illegal, I don't know why we should keep them.
I didn't think it would hurt. That's why I did them.
Well-
I agree with Melissa. I don't see any harm in okaying them. If they're not valid, they're not valid, but at least they're there for people to see what we did. They got Ed's video to see what we did. I don't know.
They weren't valid because we didn't post it as a public meeting. Well, I guess I don't see any reason, we could keep them. They're not gonna mean anything because we've went over everything that was in those, that was discussed yesterday, today, so.
I'm gonna add them to my notebooks and just note that it wasn't a valid meeting.
Just put on there that they were illegal because not properly posted. Our fault,
So you don't.
my fault.
You don't want to vote to approve them?
Yeah, how can you approve illegal minutes?
I've never
I can't.
had this situation before, so I think even though you didn't follow the law by posting, it doesn't seem to me to make sense to not follow the law twice by also not having
Them approved?
approved minutes from the session. Do you know what I'm?
Yeah.
They might not be minutes, but that you could attest to the accuracy of the records of yesterday's meetings. Yesterday's meeting that could be attached to today's meeting's minutes.
Well, actually, that meeting yesterday, the default is because it was done above and beyond what was posted. That makes it all null and void, period.
Yeah, I agree.
Believe that it's them. You can't put them in any regard whatsoever.
Ed, you have your comments? Go ahead.
It's really simple. Was there a quorum of the board? Yes.
Yeah.
You met. You did something. Minutes are supposed to be taken during that quorum. They were, even though it was not posted correctly. So I believe, in my opinion, that there's still valid minutes of your gathering. So they should be approved and added. It would be better to approve and add them than to not approve and find out later on that they're not. You have a quorum here to do it. It's very easy to do it.
And I think the law requires you to post, the law requires you to take minutes, but it's not if and, it's also, so.
And the reason why we had it at 3 o'clock is we had to give 24-hour notice
Right.
of a meeting. Otherwise, we could have took a chance and had it done this morning in public session, but it wasn't posted, so. If you'd like, you seem to be in support of this, would you like to make a motion that we approve those minutes and that they be attached to today's minutes?
I don't want to use the term illegal because it makes it sound like we're...
No, just approve the minutes and then,
Well, I'm going to make a motion that we approve the minutes of the September 17th non-posted meeting.
non-posted public meeting,
A non-posted public meeting.
and that they be attached to the meeting today?
And that they be attached to the properly noticed meeting and properly noticed and held meeting of September 18th.
Second. Any further discussion? All those in support of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And so voted. I did say that Asha said she wouldn't be here. Okay.
Yes.
All right, anything further to come up?
Nope.
If not, I would accept the motion to adjourn.
I will make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second it. All those in support of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And so voted. Thank you. I know we voted on adjournment. You want to... I guess the only thing I want to report on...
Rescind your motion to adjourn.
What's that?
I'll rescind my motion to adjourn.
I'll rescind my second. All I wanted to...
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so voted. All I wanted to report on is that we started our union negotiations. And we started with having a meeting of the 3 commissioners with the 4 department heads, HR, and the financial officer to discuss strategies. And
That was attended by all 3 commissioners.
attended by all 3 commissioners. And then in the afternoon, 2 commissioners met with our attorney to discuss further strategies to be considered when it comes for negotiation before the union. On Monday afternoon, we will be talking with the union reps as to the ground rules
Excuse me, David.
and as to the scheduling.
excuse me, would you clear that up? That when you say "we," that'll be you?
I'm sorry.
The lawyer, HR?
It'd be the management team made up
Yes.
of myself, our attorney, HR director, and the finance officer, plus whatever department that we are talking about. We'll meet with the union to set the ground rules and to set a schedule so that we don't run into the situation that we ran into last year, where the nursing home union contract didn't get approved until sometime in August, July or August. We are trying to get it established that we want all union contracts, if at all possible, and it should be, all done by the 25th of November. So I just wanted to report that to make sure that we have already started and that we're not delaying anything at this point in time. And we're going to be moving forward just as quickly as we can in our negotiations. All right. That said, you want to have anything else to say about
No, that's
what,
fine.
what I did?
No, it was accurate.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I just thought of something as we were sitting there. How often does the safety committee meet?
The what?
The safety committee?
I think it's once a quarter or twice a year.
I just wondered if it would be appropriate to ask the safety committee to put something in writing as to their recommendations for the administration,
have.
building, parking lot. They have,
Yeah.
so you can.
One of the items is lighting out in the parking lot. Another item is lining it for cars.
Repaving it. they mentioned.
Repaving the sidewalk where it's cracked. Which is stuff that we put in the budget that didn't get approved.
Oh, you already tried that
Delegation
once.
didn't approve it.
Okay.
Yep.
And then the delegation's meeting in October?
I believe it's October 10th.
Yep,
No,
it's either the 23rd or the 10th, I thought.
no, the 10th's a Friday. It's either I want to say it's the 13th.
No, that's the sandwich fair.
All right, maybe it's the 20th. I don't know.
I thought it was the 23rd, that's.
No,
that's
wrong.
they normally meet on a Monday.
But they are gonna meet in October.
Okay.
I'm sure we'll be getting a notice of that and what's on the agenda.
Do you want me to add for next week's agenda that you'll spend time putting together the performance audit response? Or do you want to wait till the following
I've done
meeting?
mine.
So, I didn't know if you wanted to get all the responses and then put them into some sort of
I'll tell you what I've done.
report.
I have asked the treasurer to work with Kathy Gary to do the financial section. There has to be policies that are developed and a lot of other things. And I just talked with the treasurer this morning or noontime, and he is willing to do that. So they will sit down and try to look at the final copy of the performance audit. I've been through it. I've made comments on it. I'm not ready to come out and make what do I want to say, a realistic response to it. I don't know, maybe you have done that already on the whole thing?
Well, let's go back a little bit. I think this is the delegation's doing, and we were charged by Representative Umberger with looking through it and pointing out anything that we didn't think that was correct. That was my understanding of the delegation meeting when she told us to do it.
Okay.
Now, setting up and policies and things that they've recommended that we do, I didn't see that as what our charge was for the report to the delegation. We have to, there's no question that we have to initiate some of this, or some or good part of the suggestions that they put in it, but that isn't what I thought we were supposed to do at this point, and therefore mine does not do that.
Okay, your interpretation is from the chairman Umberger.
Yes.
My interpretation would be from Representative Schmidt, who said the commissioners should provide a detailed response in writing of the performance audit.
The timeline, didn't he?
What's that?
Didn't he say timeline, or was that someone else? I don't know.
Well, they said not everything could be done overnight, but, yeah. So,
Not that you asked me, but my interpretation.
go ahead, you were there, you're the secretary?
It is similar to what just happened with the nursing home survey. You had the survey recommendations, and
Yeah.
then there's a column there, what are you gonna do about it? And to me, that's what would be expected with the performance audit. The commissioners or the
Mhm.
department heads would put their response to each item, what they
Right.
plan to do and what period of time. And if they agree with the priority ranking.
Yeah.
But
I stand corrected, I think you're right, I think there was a timeline put to it as to when things would happen, action taken. So I guess we're gonna have to
It looks like
work
I
things
throw-
out.
Looks like I throw mine in the wastepaper basket and we
No.
start over again.
So I didn't know if you want to set aside time on your agenda on the 25th, 24th, right? Or October 1st to pull that together in advance of
When-
to
No,
put
David.
together some sort of unified response to give to the delegation ahead
Yeah.
of their meeting.
Yeah,
You know, David, I think Melissa has an excellent idea. I think we should do like we did with the non-public minutes. Sit down here and take a section each
Okay.
week for the next 8 or, it isn't
Well, we
something
don't-
we're gonna be able to do overnight, that's for sure. I mean,
no.
put into action overnight. I mean, just writing it up and thinking through what, we may not agree with some of the things that
It's not
Matrix
something,
has said.
to me, it's not something you can do in 2 weeks, and somebody
No.
suggested that we have this done in 2 weeks. I mean, that's it's a
94
huge-
pages of suggestions.
It's a huge job to do. And so they gave us to, whenever their meeting is going to be, to have something done. So I agree with you. Let's take a section next week and devote it strictly to the matrix performance audit and see where we can go with it.
Okay, will you take a look at your copy, please, and email us where you want to go with the first go-around? How far?
Okay.
Yep, that's
I can
not
do
too
that.
bad at all. This is the very end, so.
Another item on the agenda for next week, and I want all 3 commissioners to react to it, and that is to come up with a it deals with wages for those people who are filling in required positions as to what we should pay them for doing that job. I don't know what we want to call that, but we need to come to a conclusion on 2 of our people that are presently filling in in required positions.
We were going to ask at our last Association of County meetings.
But that got canceled.
Unfortunately, it was canceled. I don't know whether
I will
we're
see
almost down to the next, coming up on the next one, we might be able to ask them there.
I will see some of the people Monday morning. If I can think of it, I'll ask them, but anyway.
I know what your suggestion is, and I don't know how we can just pull a number out of the air. There must be some guideline somewhere.
Well, if they're doing the job, they got to learn the job.
Yeah.
So they don't get the full amount the first month or whatever. Whatever we decide. Anyway, we need to discuss that. That should be on the agenda for next week.
Okay. I don't remember, but somewhere in this maze of an audit, does it recommend having a company come in or someone, paying someone to set up a ranking and wage scale?
It does. It says, suggest we have an outside vendor come in and set up a wage scale.
They put 15,000, I believe, towards that. They also put 77,000 towards an IT. No, I'm sorry, for a county administrator. But it still doesn't come up to their chart. Their chart for the lowest administrator in the state was 90,000. So I don't know how they came up with 77, and that included benefits.
Yes. That was the IT.
No, it didn't.
That's the IT person.
That was the one, and I remember very clearly.
Was it
they
IT?
Yeah.
Okay.
They took the average of the four. There's 8 administrators. They took the average of the 8 highest and the 8 lowest. The 8 lowest was the 4 lowest. Excuse me, I got my math all wrong. 4 highest and 4 lowest.
Mm-hmm.
The lowest was $75,000
Okay.
before benefits, and the highest was 125, the highest average before benefits. And if you use UNH's figure of roughly 50%, that's
At least 40.
that's
yeah.
110 and somewhere in the vicinity of 180, 175, 180. What disturbs me the most is we got our final draft, and where I know I did, I pointed out an error in the IT column, and it's still there. And the figure, I don't know how they,
Well, that's one you're going to write up, I'm sure.
well, I already did.
Okay. Why don't you got anything for us before we adjourn?
No, just you had mentioned at the end of the last one, wanting to talk to HR, so I don't know if you wanted to go to non-public to discuss it when we ended our morning hearing.
We had ended, and then she asked, and we said we can't go back, and we closed
You'd
it.
already closed. So I didn't know if you wanted to go into non-public. Was there something you needed to discuss?
Regarding the action taken?
I'm not sure.
It was your idea, but you made the suggestion.
Well, we have to inform the individual
Mhm.
as to the action taken. And we got 10 days to do that.
I'm not sure with that. It seemed to me like you had something fresh and new that you wanted to discuss.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it was that.
Okay.
I wanted to
Okay.
make sure that HR did that kind of a thing and draft us up something that we can act on by next Wednesday,
Absolutely.
okay?
Yep.
And if you want to work with her as to the reasons, because we have to list those,
Mhm.
that would be fine. And we can take action on it,
Excuse me.
okay? Anything else?
Shall we try it a second time?
Should we try the second time to adjourn?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second. All those in support of the motion say aye.
Aye. Please don't
Pound the
read.
gavel, now it's
Please don't
now it's
remember.
done.